again, we saw a stack of 4s back here along our plate boundary. This is going to push back into Turkey and flare things up. The stack in Turkey should get huge. Now let me turn on the Turkish agency. Thanks to MC Player and Squeaks in the chat room, they've provided all these international feeds. Now take a look at Turkey over the last day. See this stack? Okay, these stacks are going to double and triple in size over the next day. Why? Because of pressure back in Iran. Let's go turn on the Iranian feed. Yes, we've got a feed for Iran. My computer's probably on every server belonging to every U.S. government program right now because I'm pulling all these earthquakes from Iran directly to my PC. Let me do it, guys, okay? You guys don't need to be doing this. So, here we go. Take a look at Iran. This activity is going to push to the west. All these 4s, like I said, adds up to a 5, which means Turkey's going to swarm out. Then we're going to see that 5 strike at Crete. So you know what to look for, okay? All this pressure goes to the west every single week. One last thing I'd like to point out before we get out of Europe. It's always prudent for you to have a plan and be prepared in case there's a larger earthquake. So when I warned Italy, and I told you guys, watch out for a mid-range 4. If I'm 1 magnitude off, it might not make that big of a deal, right? I mean, a 5.3 is enough to knock things down. It is enough to cause injury, but it's not, again, a game changer, as I call it. But if I'm 2 magnitudes off and a 6.3 hits, you're talking pretty much widespread devastation in Italy due to the stone structures and the age of the buildings. So, you know, I take it serious, and you should take it serious too, so you should have a plan. You don't need these huge stockpiles of food and water. I mean, it's always a good idea. I say this every time. It's a good idea to have that stuff for all kinds of emergencies. But for earthquake, you got to know what to do when it hits. You got to be able to hit that deck and take cover from your falling plasma TV and your cracked drywall that's falling on your head. And that stuff, if it falls from 10 feet above, take it from me on the job site. You guys know I did construction for a very long time. Last thing you need is a piece of drywall or plaster falling from 10 feet up and hitting you on the head. You know that stuff's sharp, right? A lot of times it has drywall screw in it. Think about it. So, be able to take cover when a large earthquake strikes. That's the first thing. Then, while you're taking cover, you assess whether or not you need to flee out of the structure. And you make a quick path for that. As opposed to running around like your hair's on fire, screaming earthquake, you're first under a structure that's able to take the blow of moderate falling things. And as you're there, under the table, you listen for cracking and creaking of the structure. Or if you're in a stone structure, you listen for that. And if you hear it, then you make a beeline for the door and try to get out. And you got to have it practiced. Like anything that you do in life, it's like, for Europeans, like playing a game of European football, right? Soccer, as we call it here in the States. That if you never practice and you get out there and you try and kick the ball, what happens? Dong. Okay. So you want to practice, and don't feel weird practicing, but it's a good idea for you to do those things, okay? And it's not foolish. It's always good to be prepared. We have a motto here at the Boy Scouts here in the United States.